How one woman's incredible journey from humiliation to empowerment exposed a $10 million secret. The biting winter wind howled through the streets of Pierre, South Dakota, as Sarah pulled on her coat, the chill biting deep into her bones. Before dawn, she was already awake, moving in a haze of routine. Every morning began with Lily, her spirited 4-year-old, bouncing into the kitchen, eyes bright with possibility. "Mommy, is today my story time?" Lily's enthusiasm was infectious, a reminder of what was truly important. Sarah smiled, the weight of her 2 jobs pressing down like an anchor. But there was hope wrapped in warm pancakes and syrup, filling the tiny kitchen. As Sarah served breakfast, memories of her late father echoed in her mind. His words of resilience and hard work playing like a comforting lullaby. He had taught her to face the world with integrity, no matter how harshly it judged. At the local diner, the familiar clatter of dishes accompanied her every shift. Mr. Jenkins, the arrogant boss, had a knack for belittling her in front of customers. "Come on, Sarah, how hard is it to remember a simple order?" It stung like icicles in her heart. But Sarah brushed off the humiliation, reminding herself it was just another day in the life of a single mother trying to make ends meet. As the snow began to pile on the sidewalks, word spread. The community center was closing its doors due to insufficient funds. The center was more than just walls and classes. It was a safe haven for families, a beacon of hope. "I can't let this happen," Sarah thought fiercely. She enrolled in an online course, determined to learn more about effective fundraising and build confidence she didn't know she had. Pathetically small voices grumbled in the back of glitzy parties and rich chatter, questioning why someone like her would dare to care for such a thing. "What can a single mother do?" they whispered, each word a dagger, twisting at her deeply buried insecurities. But as she gazed around the diner, she saw faces like hers staring back. Every pitiful smile a reminder of struggle, resilience, and shared aspirations. The annual charity gala approached, a high society event where everyone donned their finest. Sarah's heart raced as she contemplated speaking. When the moment arrived, she stood before the crowd and confronted Mr. Jenkins, her voice quivering but steady. "The center isn't just a building, it's a lifeline," she declared, her eyes sweeping over the expensively clad audience. "What are we if we turn our backs on the families who need this?" The atmosphere shifted. Some guests watched with growing interest, realization dawning. Claps of approval began to ripple through the crowd as she shared her truth, her life, her struggle, the stories of others like her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Then, the unexpected happened. A representative from a philanthropic organization stepped up, announcing a mind-boggling $10 million pledge to save the community center. The atmosphere erupted into applause, but hovering over the joy was a single, piercing thought. Was she still the single mother they all saw her as, or had she finally risen to become something bigger? As Sarah gazed at the sea of applauding faces, doubt and hope tangled within her. She had ignited a fire. Could she fuel it? And just as the applause began to fade, a voice echoed from the back, questioning the price tag of a simple mother's determination, leaving everyone breathless. What would Sarah choose to stand for next? The atmosphere hummed with energy, yet Sarah felt every heartbeat echoing in her chest. The applause felt like a distant reverberation as the voice called out from the rear, tauntingly dripping disdain. "What do you know about making a difference, Sarah? You're just a waitress." It was like ice water poured over her. The excitement of the moment turned heavy, as if the air itself had thickened. Faces turned toward her, a mix of curiosity and judgment flaring in their eyes. What could she say that would counter that biting question? But she felt a fire building inside her, fueled by the heavy truth of her struggles and dreams. Maybe I'm just a waitress, she started, her voice trembling slightly but gaining strength. But I'm also a mother, and I'm not afraid to fight for my daughter's future and the futures of countless others who depend on this center. The moment stretched, tension basking in the silence that followed. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The voice that had jeered just moments ago seemed to dissipate into nothingness. With each word that followed, Sarah felt herself shedding the weight of her past. Every day, I face challenges that threaten to pull me down, bills piling up, judgments from others, but I choose to rise. Every family deserves a place where they can thrive. With each declaration, she became more alive, more than a mere waitress. She was an advocate, a warrior of the community, and perhaps even a symbol of hope. The crowd started to lean in, some glancing at each other, sharing glances that communicated understanding and solidarity. Sarah took a breath, feeling that quiet determination wrap around her like a warm blanket. She opened her arms wide. Help us lift the future. We can create a place filled with stories and dreams, a home where we support one another because together we are unstoppable. Suddenly, the applause erupted again, loud and genuine. She met the eyes of her daughter, who was clapping with wild enthusiasm, and Sarah felt an overwhelming rush of love and pride swell in her chest. For the first time, she realized her worth went beyond how others labeled her. She could be the spark in the dark. But deep within the applause, another thought gnawed at her. The image of Mr. Jenkins, lurking at the edge of the crowd, a shadow of mockery cloaked in disbelief. What would he do next? The thought crept into her mind, darkening the triumph of the moment, drawing uncertainty. As the applause continued, Sarah caught a glimpse of a new face in the crowd, a well-dressed woman with sharp features, her expression unreadable yet compelling. Who was she? Did she come with promises or threats? Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach, a mixture of wondering and warning. What had she awakened? The possibilities unfurled like a banner, shadowed by an undercurrent of concern. As thoughts raced through her, the reality settled harshly. This newfound power came with challenges beyond what she'd anticipated. Just when she thought she had crossed a threshold, Sarah realized a larger battle loomed ahead. What if being an empowered voice also made her a target? As questions flooded her mind, a chilling whisper from the stranger reached her ears. Now that you've stirred the pot, there's no going back. Are you ready for the consequences? The tension thickened, and Sarah felt her ordinary world shift beneath her feet. What would she do when the dust settled? Would she be able to keep her family safe, or would she end up drawing the very dangers she wanted to fight against? An unexpected storm was brewing, and Sarah braced for the fiercest challenge of her life. The applause faded, but the weight of the moment lingered heavily on Sarah's shoulders. She stood on the stage, her pulse quickening, the gaze of the audience still locked onto her. With her words echoing in her mind, she felt exhilarated and terrified all at once. She raised her chin, scrutinizing the crowd, searching for familiar faces among the sea of strangers. Then Mr. Jenkins emerged from the shadows, cutting through the crowd like a predator. His smirk was a razor blade, sharp and menacing. Memories of past encounters flooded her senses, his arrogant dismissals, the way he would belittle her, carving doubt into her heart. Every step forward, just an illusion, his actions seemed to say, mocking her aspirations. Just as she felt her courage waning, the well-dressed woman stepped forward, arms crossed. Her dark hair swept back, accentuating a face meticulously composed. "That was quite a speech, Sarah," she began, her tone smooth yet inscrutable. "But what do you mean?" Sarah shot back, trying to wield her newfound strength against the woman's cold assessment. "You're stirring something here," the woman replied, her eyes glinting. "But understand this, it can easily become a flame that consumes you." "Do you really know who you're dealing with?" A chill traveled down Sarah's spine. The crowd began to murmur again, the energy shifting from admiration to suspicion. "Enough with the threats," she said, her voice steadier now. I'm here for my daughter and this community. I'm not backing down." The woman nodded, almost approvingly, but the smile never reached her eyes. "Very well, but in this world, you'll discover quickly that there are powerful people who will not appreciate your noise. It's wise to choose your battles." With those words still hanging in the air, the woman turned and disappeared into the crowd like a wisp of smoke. Sarah felt a jolt of fear ripple through her. Who was she, and what were the implications of this newfound voice she had stirred? As her heart raced, the focus of the event shifted back to her, the crowd renewing its energy to support her. But deep down, she felt the edges of a dark cloud form. She didn't want to seem weak, not after everything she just declared. Yet doubt twisted in her gut, mingling with the thrill of empowerment. She glanced towards her daughter, her small figure glowing with pride and innocence, blissfully unaware of the dangers that lurked behind the scenes. The thought ignited a flame within her, pushing Sarah to reclaim control. "This is for you, sweet girl," she whispered to the air, determination swelling in her chest. "Together, we will stand strong." She raised her voice again, rallying the crowd's spirit, igniting their solidarity. The cheers returned, echoing louder this time. Yet, in the back of her mind, a whisper persisted, a reminder of what lay ahead. How would she navigate the chaos that was bound to follow? Just then, Sarah spotted Mr. Jenkins moving through the crowd, his eyes narrowing as he honed in on her. His presence felt electric, charged with frustration and belittlement. It was a haunting reminder that this battle was far from over. "Be ready, Sarah," his voice cut through the cheers like a knife. "You have no idea what you are provoking." The urgency pooled within her. Would she be able to rise above the storm, or would she become an unwilling pawn in a larger game? The storm wasn't just brewing, it was already here. And as Sarah began to question every move she would make, one thought lingered in her heart. Was she prepared to fight, not just for herself, but also for every family that burned with the hope that she had ignited? The answer was uncertain, but she felt a flicker of strength. Perhaps, just perhaps, it was now or never. Would her voice echo louder than the storms threatening to drown it out? The fight had just begun. As the cheers exploded around her, Sarah's heart raced and her feet felt glued to the stage. The crowd's energy pulsed, but there was a storm inside her. She could hear Mr. Jenkins's sneering voice reverberating in her ears like an unwelcome echo, reminding her of all the times he had dismissed her. Every insult felt like a stone, heavy and cold, weighing her down. "Stay focused," she whispered to herself, drawing in a deep breath. The warmth of her daughter's gaze washed over her, shielding her from the chill of uncertainty. Those innocent eyes glimmered with pride, and that spark ignited Sarah's spirit anew. "Let's turn this into action," she proclaimed, rallying herself. "Who's with me?" Her voice cut through the lingering doubts that threatened to steal her power, and the crowd erupted, proud voices, fists in the air, all chanting for change. But beneath that electric surface lay an undercurrent of unease. The woman's words lingered like a specter. Powerful people would not appreciate this noise. Sarah scanned the audience, searching for allies, but also expecting shadows. "Sarah, Sarah," came the chants, building momentum. A part of her wanted to revel in it, to feel the joy curling in her chest like a warm blanket. But another part felt a shadow flickering at the edges of her vision. Suddenly, she caught sight of Mr. Jenkins moving along the perimeter of the crowd, whispering and pointing. Unease twisted in her gut. Was he sowing seeds of dissent? The adrenaline surged again, coiling her nerves tight. "I will not let fear dictate my journey," she thought fiercely. As she spoke, she made eye contact with a woman in the audience, someone she remembered from a local community meeting. There was fierce resolve painted on that woman's face, reminding Sarah that she was not alone. "They say the truth sets you free, right?" Sarah continued, pushing her voice higher. "But truth can be a double-edged sword.
It exposes the problems we face, but it also reveals our strength. Together, we can cut through the darkness. Applause erupted again, and she could feel the momentum building, the tide beginning to turn. Yet the tension in the back of her mind began to sharpen. Would the truth really wield the kind of power she needed? Or would it unearth things that would come back to haunt her? As her speech flowed like an unrestrained river, swelling with conviction, her thoughts drifted to her daughter again. Would this fight endanger her? What if Mr. Jenkins decided to retaliate? A mother's instinct to protect clashed with her determination to inspire. The audience was on their feet now, voices crescendoing in a symphony of unity. But there was still a wall of dread pressing against her. Sparks were now flying around her, but where would they land? Would they illuminate the way or ignite uncontrollable flames? Just as Sarah felt the highs of empowerment rush through her, she noticed the well-dressed woman re-emerging from the crowd, her face inscrutable but determined. The calm that surrounded her felt almost chilling. What's she doing back? Sarah thought, eyes narrowing as the woman locked eyes with her. The crowd was oblivious, lost in their collective spirit, but Sarah
Felt the tension in the air shift. She shivered slightly, steeling herself as the woman approached the stage with a purpose. "Remember, Sarah," she called out, her voice cutting through the cheers. "Every choice has a cost. Are you ready to pay it?" Sarah's breath caught, the weight of the woman's words landing like a punch. She felt exposed, vulnerable. Could she handle this? Before she could answer, the woman stepped closer, arms crossed, a flicker of challenge in her gaze. "How far are you willing to go in this fight?" The audience's energy faded into an eerie hush, all attention now concentrated on Sarah. This was her moment, facing uncertainty head-on. Would she flee from the challenge or rise to meet it? With the shadows of doubt swirling around her, Sarah took a step forward, heart in her throat. The stakes were raised, the battle lines drawn, and a single thought marked the evening's ultimate question. Was she ready to face the storm, or would the storm face her? The silence hung in the air, thick with expectation. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, each beat a reminder of what was at stake. She locked eyes with the woman in front of her, a mix of defiance and determination simmering in her gaze. "I'm ready," she finally replied, her voice steadying as she drew on that inner strength she often doubted. "I will fight." The crowd erupted back to life, roaring their support like a tidal wave crashing against the shore. It was as if the ground shook beneath her feet, and she could feel the power coursing through the assembled masses. Each cheer washed away the remnants of fear that clung to her. But amidst the excitement, the well-dressed woman remained calm, her expression neutral. Sarah felt the challenge linger between them, like a hand offered in a game of poker. What was it she truly wanted? What cost did she imply in her question? "Good," the woman said slowly, the corners of her mouth twitching slightly. "But remember, the path you choose today won't just affect you. It's bigger than that." The words settled heavily on Sarah. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about the community, her daughter, and the very fabric of their lives. The stakes were climbing higher, the consequences more far-reaching than she ever anticipated. "Are you prepared for what comes next?" the woman pressed gently, picking at Sarah's resolve. "I've faced worse than him," Sarah shot back, surprising herself with the fierceness of her voice. The woman's gaze softened for a brief moment, and then she nodded, as if she'd found what she was looking for. "Then, let's see how far you're willing to go, shall we?" Without another word, she stepped back into the crowd, disappearing among the sea of supporters. Sarah's pulse raced as she returned her attention to her audience, the familiar faces staring back at her, radiating belief and hope. There was power in numbers, and each individual present held the potential to create change. "Together," she began, and the crowd took up the chant once again, the word echoing with strength and solidarity. Just then, a loud voice cut through the revelry. "What change are you promising, Sarah?" It was Mr. Jenkins, his tone mocking as he meandered through the throng. "Are you prepared for the consequences of this so-called fight?" Consequences? Sarah felt her stomach clench. "You mean standing up for what's right?" Jenkins laughed, a cold, humorless sound. "You think this is a game? This is real life, and the people who run this town don't take kindly to troublemakers." Her heart sank, but Sarah caught a glimmer of support in the eyes around her. They believed in her, and she could feel their collective energy propelling her forward. "Real change starts with real courage," she said, grit hardening her voice. "I refuse to be silenced. If that's a cost you're willing to impose, then let's make it real." The crowd erupted again, the sound washing over Sarah in a swell of warm affirmation. Even as Jenkins stood there smirking, something shifted in the air. It felt electric. "Let me tell you something, Sarah," he called out, his eyes narrowing. "You're stirring shadows that could swallow you whole. Keep your eyes open." His words hung ominously, but they fueled a fire inside her. She wouldn't let him intimidate her. This was her moment. With chaos brewing in her chest, Sarah knew she had just stepped into a larger arena than she ever imagined. As she glanced down at her daughter's radiant face, she felt that familiar pull of resolve. "Are you with me?" she shouted, raising her arms to the crowd. Faces of determination answered her with a resounding roar, united and unwavering. But as the cheers thundered around her, a chilling thought wormed its way into her mind. What if standing up means tearing down everything she holds dear? The question loomed, dark and threatening, just as Sarah took a deep breath and prepared to face whatever was coming. Would the light they forged together be enough to keep the darkness at bay? The cheers still echoed in her ears, but Sarah could feel her heart racing for a different reason now. The weight of the moment pressed against her like a heavy blanket. She looked over the gathering crowd, each face blurring into a sea of hope and anxiety. What had she just committed to? The stakes were higher, and it felt like the air crackled with the energy of possibility and peril. As the chants receded to a dull roar, Jenkins's mocking laughter hung in the background, a constant reminder of the battle ahead. He was right about one thing: the people who wielded power in this town were ruthless, and Sarah could no longer afford to be the quiet, invisible woman she once was. "Mommy, are you okay?" Her daughter's voice broke through her thoughts, clear and sweet. Sarah knelt down, meeting her child's soft gaze, and was instantly reminded of her purpose. "I'm more than okay, sweetheart. I'm going to fight for our future," she reassured. The tiny girl's smile brightened the edges of Sarah's doubt, even as a new question loomed large in her mind. How could she ensure their safety while challenging the very system that tried to keep them down? Suddenly, she felt a gentle hand on her shoulder. Turning, Sarah found the comfort of her friend, Mia. "Are you ready for this?" she asked, concern etched into her features. "I have to be," Sarah replied, determination returning to her voice. "But I can't do it alone. We need to gather our people, share our stories, and build a plan." Mia nodded, her own fire igniting again. "You say the word and I'm in. We need to mobilize everyone who feels the same way." Just then, Sarah's eyes scanned the crowd, and she spotted a few familiar faces. Neighbors, friends, people she had shared moments with but never voiced their collective struggle. She could see the flickers of courage forming in their eyes as well. It was time to turn this moment into something they could all hold on to, something tangible. "Everyone," she called out, amplifying her voice with the energy swelling inside her. "We need to come together like never before. We have to share our stories, show those who doubt us our strength. This isn't just my fight anymore, it's ours." A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd, and people took a step closer, drawn by the warmth of her conviction. Their faces echoed the sentiment that they were ready to stand with her, ready to take this fight beyond the walls of their homes. Yet, somewhere in the back of her mind, Jenkins's warning replayed. Shadows within shadows? What exactly did that mean?
Was there something more sinister lurking behind the scenes? As thoughts tumbled, Sarah realized they needed a strategy. While the support felt powerful, it would take more than just raw emotion to challenge the old guard. They needed solidarity and a clear voice to combat any whispers of doubt or fear. With a quick glance towards Mia, Sarah felt resolved. Let's meet right here again tomorrow. We'll gather our stories and shapes our plans. I know we can turn this into change. The sunlight dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the gathering. But in that moment, the air felt charged with adrenaline and anticipation. But as they started to disperse, a fleeting thought tugged at her. A realization that the shadows Jenkins warned her about were not just external, they were within too. What hidden truths lay in Sarah's own life, threatening to rise to the surface as this battle unfolded? And would she be ready to confront them when the time came? The next morning, the sun rose with a hesitant glow, as if it too was aware of the weight Sarah felt on her
shoulders. She had barely slept, each twist and turn in her bed filled with dreams of courage and shadows of her own doubts. As the light filtered through her window, she took a deep breath, trying to shake the remnants of worry clinging to her. Making breakfast for Emma, she moved through the motions, but her mind was elsewhere. How could they unite the community? Would they really be able to face Jenkins? The chill that raced down her spine reminded her that hesitation was not a luxury she could afford. "Mommy, can we go to the park after school?" Emma chirped, eyes wide with innocence. "Of course, sweetheart. Just, I have things to do first, okay?" Sarah smiled, but her heart felt heavy. She wanted to reassure her daughter, to make her believe everything would be all right, even when she wasn't sure herself. Once Emma was headed off, Sarah slipped on a jacket and headed out into the world, her heart racing anew. Today, she had a mission, to turn hope into action. She reached the community center, where they'd agreed to meet. The small room filled up quickly with people Sarah had known for years, but had never really connected with on this level. There were farmers, teachers, retirees, and young adults with fire in their hearts. She could feel their energy building, the collective nervousness vibrating in the air like a taut string about to snap. "Thank you all for coming," Sarah began, her voice steadier than she felt. "This is not just a meeting, it's the start of something powerful. Together, we can change the narrative." The crowd responded with murmurs of agreement, and she could see faces begin to soften, filled with determination that would soon match her own. As they shared stories, emotions poured out, stories of job losses, of intimidation at the hands of those in power, and hopes dulled by the weight of systemic oppression. It became a cathartic release. Each confession was like a thread weaving them closer together, a tapestry of shared struggles. Then, one man, a retired school principal named David, stood up. "I've seen this town go from vibrant to stagnant. It's time we reclaim what's ours. This fight is not just for us, but for those who come after us," he said passionately, his voice resonating in the small room. As the air filled with excitement, Sarah felt a flicker of fear mix in. The very essence of what propelled her forward was also the burden of responsibility. Would leading this group reveal her own weaknesses? What if Jenkins targeted them because of her? The thought twisted her gut. The meeting turned into a whirlwind of ideas, rally cries, and plans. Everyone shared their skills and resources, and by the time they adjourned, a group once marked by isolation had transformed into a community united by purpose. But as they left, a sense of caution loomed over Sarah. Just then, a figure watched from the shadows outside the community. Center, a familiar smirk across his face. Jenkins wasn't going to let this come together easily. What were his next moves? Was he already paving a path to crush this burgeoning hope? The fight had started, but it quickly became clear that shadows, both within and outside, would soon collide in a terrifying way. As Sarah stepped outside, the weight of the unknown pressed down even harder. How would she keep her community safe when the real battle was just beginning? And what personal truths would she be forced to uncover in the fight ahead? As Sarah stood on the steps of the community center, the sun glared down at her, oddly bright compared to the storm brewing in her mind. She watched the faces of her neighbors, each one filled with renewed hope and determination.
Yet the nagging thought of Jenkins lurked at the back of her mind. The streets felt emptier as she turned to walk home, the sound of her footsteps echoing in the stillness. People were too afraid to venture out today. A chill settled in her bones. She wasn't just representing herself anymore. She was a beacon of change for everyone who felt voiceless. Reaching home, Sarah poured herself a cup of coffee, trying to ward off the growing anxiety. She glanced around at the familiar comforts of her kitchen, the very space where she had made countless meals for Emma. Each picture on the walls, their smiles frozen in time, reminded her of what was at stake. The world outside her door felt dangerous, but inside, hope had taken root. Suddenly, her phone buzzed on the counter. A text from David flashed across the screen. "We need to meet. Jenkins is planning something. Can't talk here." Her heart raced. They had struck a nerve. Jenkins was aware of the plans brewing in the community, and that meant he was getting desperate. In the span of a few hours, the meeting's energy shifted from unity to a looming threat. Holding on to her morning cup, Sarah sent back a quick reply. "I'm on my way." With a mix of urgency and fear, she headed out again, the weight of responsibility heavier than ever. The old diner was just a block away. As she entered, the familiar scent of bacon and coffee wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. But today, the usual buzz of chatter felt muted. Sarah spotted David in a booth, his brow furrowed as he glanced around warily. "Any news?" she asked as she slid into the seat. "Jenkins has been rallying his supporters. He's got a rally planned next week to counteract our movement," David said tightly, eyes darting around as if expecting Jenkins to walk in at any moment. "Is that why we're meeting? To figure out our response?" "Not just our response, but how we protect ourselves. Jenkins doesn't play fair. I'm worried he'll resort to intimidation tactics, like he's done before." As David spoke, Sarah's resolve strengthened. She had already witnessed the power of their plans.
Community come together. Would their combined strength withstand whatever Jenkins had in store? Then, let's prepare. The words tumbled out before she had a chance to second-guess them. We can't let fear dictate our actions. We'll meet again this week. Bring more people. Get them involved. David nodded, a spark igniting in his eyes. They need to understand what's at stake. This isn't just about us anymore. The conversation flowed, strategies formed, but as they talked, a sense of dread filled the air. The rally could be the turning point, the moment where hope would either flourish or be smothered under Jenkins's heavy-handed tactics. As Sarah left the diner, the weight of uncertainty loomed heavier than ever. It felt as though they were standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to leap without knowing if the ground would catch them. With a determined heart, Sarah trudged back home. She would not only fight for herself, but for Emma and every other person entrapped by fear. When she entered the house, Emma's laughter rang from the living room. It was a sweet sound, bittersweet in reminding Sarah of everything she was risking. The fight was becoming real, and reality was a fierce mistress. Jenkins would soon unleash his next move. What tactics would he employ to silence them? Would they push forward, or would they be forced to retreat from their mission of hope? Sarah's worries mixed with a growing desire to prepare for whatever storm was brewing. It was becoming clearer now. This was about more than battle lines drawn in the sand. It was about setting an example for those in the shadows. As the wind rustled outside, she leaned against the doorframe, caught between determination and doubt. How had it come to this? Were they really ready to stand up against Jenkins? Would the strength of their community hold strong when the storm finally broke? The clock ticked steadily, each second pulling her closer to the inevitable confrontation. She could feel the tide shift, and deep down, she knew the next chapter would demand everything from her. When Sarah awoke the next morning, the silence of the house was almost deafening. The sun filtered through the curtains, throwing soft light over the living room, but it did nothing to quell the unease churning in her stomach. Emma was still asleep, and Sarah cherished those peaceful moments when the weight of their reality didn't intrude. After preparing breakfast, she settled at the kitchen table with her notebook, the pages blank, yet filled with possibilities. Tapping her pen against the wood, she let out a sigh. The meeting at the diner had fueled her resolve, but even more, it had highlighted how much she needed to rally others. They couldn't do this alone. Fear whispered its doubts in her ear, and she had to drown it out with action. With each word scribbled down, she crafted a plan. Ideas flowed, each one connecting like a chain. Community meetings, skits, flyers, anything to shine
A light on Jenkins' tactics. She wanted to show them that they were not alone, that together they could face whatever storm loomed. The thought alone ignited a flicker of hope, and Sarah felt it grow. For the next couple of days, she immersed herself completely in this newfound purpose. She reached out to her neighbors, gathering support. Sarah felt like something akin to a conductor, orchestrating her own symphony of voices, hopes, and fears. More people began to show interest, their determination igniting a fire within her. Each interaction lifted her spirits, and with every encouraging word exchanged, she sensed Jenkins's hold loosening just a bit. But then came the message that stole her breath away. It was a Thursday afternoon, and Sarah had returned home from a meeting with a dozen of her neighbors gathered for a planning session in the park. As she trudged up the walkway, her phone buzzed yet again. This time it was a photo, sent by David. In it, there he stood, shadowed by a hulking figure, Jenkins. The piercing look in Jenkins's eyes made her pulse race. "Meet me at the old warehouse tonight. We might have a chance to confront him," David's text read. An uneasy knot formed in Sarah's stomach. Was she ready for that? The image of Emma, laughing with her friends just a few hours earlier, hung heavily in her mind. Suddenly, this wasn't just a matter of community anymore. It felt intensely personal. What if Jenkins retaliates? She wondered out loud, the words a mere whisper against the walls of her thoughts. If they confronted him, they would be stepping into a dangerous game. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah found herself standing outside the old warehouse, her heart pounding like a drum. The night around her was too quiet, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. The building loomed, shadows stretching long in the yawning darkness. David approached, looking more anxious than ever. "You ready?" he asked, a nervous edge crackling in his voice. Sarah nodded, but a flicker of doubt undermined her confidence. Was this what true courage felt like? Standing on the edge, teetering between fear and hope? As they entered the warehouse, the dim light revealed a circle of community members, eyes wide with concern and defiance under the blinking fluorescent lights. The energy in the room vibrated, charged with anticipation. This was it. They were stepping into battle. But as she opened her mouth to speak, a voice cut through the murmur. It was Jenkins, lurking in the shadows, and the realization hit her like a punch. They weren't just facing a man, they were challenging a force that fed on fear. "Ready or not, here comes my storm," his voice echoed, and the room fell dead silent. As adrenaline coursed through her, Sarah realized it wasn't just a fight for the community anymore. It was a battle for her daughter, her home, and every soul that felt silenced. Would they stand together against Jenkins's looming threat, or would fear pull them back into the shadows? The stakes were rising, and Sarah knew that in that moment of truth, everything could change. The warehouse walls seemed to pulse with tension as Sarah stood at the forefront, the air thick with uncertainty. Jenkins loomed before them, a shadowy figure that cast doubt and fear over the brave faces surrounding her. "Look at you all, a bunch of lost sheep," he sneered, arms crossed condescendingly. "Thinking you can take me down? You have no idea what you're up against." His laughter echoed, a chilling sound that sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. There was no hiding from the storm now. Yet all around her, the murmurs of dissent began to rise. David stood tall beside her, setting fire to the sparks of courage within the group. "This isn't just about you, Jenkins," he shouted back, voice firm with conviction. "This is about our community, our families, our futures." His words ignited a wave of energy that rushed through Sarah's heart. She felt strengthened by the presence of her neighbors, every individual representing a unique thread woven tightly into the fabric of their shared battle. "Together!" Sarah shouted, the adrenaline pumping through her veins. "We are not afraid of your intimidation tactics. We won't let your threats drown us. You think you can silence us? Look around. This is our community, and we will protect it. Gasps rippled through the audience as her words took flight, echoing loudly against the warehouse's cold walls. The courage she had felt before suddenly swelled inside her, merging with the weight of responsibility to ignite a collective will. Jenkins's sneer faded for a moment, replaced by a flicker of annoyance. "You're barking up the wrong tree, woman," he shot back, but the hesitation in his voice revealed more than he intended. Sarah stepped forward, heart racing, eyes shining with fierce determination. "You may think you have power over us, but we are stronger together. Our voices will not be silenced. We have shared stories that expose the lies you've built your empire upon, and now they will be heard." The room erupted in applause and shouts of agreement. This was her moment, and she could feel the momentum changing, the tide shifting firmly in their favor. Energy buzzed through the group as they rallied around her. "What is it you fear, Jenkins?" Sarah continued, emboldened. "It's not just the loss of control, it's the realization that we will rise, with or without you. You can try to bury us under your piles of money, but our spirit will never waver." Jenkins's facade cracked further, his confident demeanor now threatening to crumble. For the first time, a flicker of doubt crossed his face, and Sarah knew she had struck a chord. Suddenly, a voice from the crowd emerged, firm and resolute. "Let's share our stories tonight. The truth is powerful, and it's time for everyone
For us to stand. Transparency, honesty, those are our weapons." Heads nodded in agreement, and the crowd surged forward, eager to reclaim their narrative and channel their adversities into strength. As one by one they began to share their stories, the atmosphere shifted entirely, filled with the weight of shared grief, laughter, and hope. Sarah watched with fierce pride as stifled voices erupted into passionate testimonials of hardship and triumph, their words forming a stronghold against the lurking shadows that Jenkins had created. The room felt electric, vibrating with every truth laid bare. When we speak together, she thought, each story echoed their resilience and determination, reminding everyone, even Jenkins, of their collective strength. Jenkins's bravado dissipated further, and he stood back, increasingly agitated, sensing he was losing control over his carefully curated narrative. In the electric atmosphere, Sarah stepped back into the spotlight. "This isn't just a battle between you and us, Jenkins. It's an awakening. We are a community ready to embrace change. Your reign of fear is coming to an end." A roar of agreement flooded the air as she lifted her hands high. "Will you stand with me? Let's show him the true power of our combined voices." "Yes," came the collective response, shaking the very foundation of the warehouse. But as glimmers of victory shone in the air, Sarah felt dread creep back in. Jenkins's eyes narrowed, and his irritation morphed into something darker. The storm she had ignited was only just beginning, and she knew they were not yet safe. "Prepare for the consequences," Jenkins warned, a grim finality in his tone as he backed away, his shadow looming even larger as he slipped out of sight. "Now more than ever, we stay united," Sarah exclaimed, her voice steady. "Together, we will protect each other and create a future built on strength, not fear." As the gathering culminated in a unified chant of determination, Sarah locked eyes with David, who nodded, a spark of belief lighting up within him. They were ready. The storm was brewing, but so too was the light. No longer a flickering flame, but a blazing bonfire of hope and resilience. "Let's show this town we're not just survivors, we're fighters," Sarah shouted, the resolve solidifying within her. As cheers rose around her, she felt the warmth of community wrap around them all, uniting them like an unbreakable shield. They were ready to conquer the shadows. The fight was just beginning, and with their shared strength, they would face whatever came next, together. This was their moment. With hope stitched into every heart and determination shining in every eye, they would rise, and nothing would hold them back. Now was the time to stand tall, and every single voice would matter. If you're feeling inspired by Sarah's journey and want more stories like this, you need to subscribe now. Hit that button so you won't miss any exclusive content. Leave a like now to support the channel and help the algorithm show this to more people who want to feel empowered. Comment below your thoughts on Sarah's courage and what you think will happen next. Don't wait, not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation and find their own voice. Let's spread the message of hope and change together.